Hey everybody, my name is Jeremy.
Welcome everybody, I'm Colton.
My name's Cole.
Hey, this is Jackson Wyatt.
Hey everybody.
Hey y'all, it's Haley.
Hi, I'm Hayden. Hey guys, it's Martha.
Welcome to Eyc TV.
Last week, we challenged you guys to a trick shot competition. There were a lot of good entries, but there can only be one winner. Check these out. I can't believe he just made that shot! Can't believe it. I can't believe he made that. That's the shot of the century, my man.
Able to throw a pass to my little brother while I'm blindfolded. Let's see if we can do it. Yeah. All right. Hey, I didn't say down, set, hike. All right. Down, set, hike. Go.
I can't believe he's done this. Mind blown. I don't even know. He's gonna take home the victory. Mind blown! I can't believe he just made that shot. The results have been tallied and certified, and they are brought to me in this very important box. Ladies and gentlemen, our winner is Cameron Kelly! Woo! Cameron Kelly, you are going to be receiving a personal pan pizza delivered to your house, right to your house as your trophy. All that hard work paid off. Hope you guys enjoyed this challenge. Thanks to all of our amazing entries. But we want to let you know about next week's challenge. Next week's challenge is the Tell a Joke Challenge. Record yourself telling your best and funniest joke. Points will be given out for delivery and content. We hope to hear your funniest jokes. And we are going to have a celebrity judge come in and judge all your jokes. That's right, Eric. Just in case you can't think of anything, here are some examples. But can't use these. These are already winners. I bought these shoes from a drug dealer. Don't know what he laced them with, but I've been tripping all day. I ordered a chicken and an egg from Amazon. I'll let you know.
For the risen one is overcome, and for every fear there's an empty grave. For the risen one is overcome, we will not be moved when the earth gives way. For the risen one is overcome, and for every fear there's an empty grave. For the risen one is overcome. Yeah, you are worthy, Lord. You are overcome. Yeah, come on. Give him thanks.
Hey, my name is Jeremy. I'm the youth pastor here at Emerge Youth, and we're in a series called Things Jesus Didn't Say. And you may ask yourself, why are we talking about things that Jesus didn't say? And our thought is that if we focus on what he didn't say, it gives a lot of power to what he actually did say. So today we're going to be talking about what Jesus didn't say about happiness. What I do know about almost all of you is that almost all of you want to be happy. I can't think of any person who decides, who's like, I just want to be miserable. I don't care about happiness. I just want to be a miserable person and not have any joy in my life. I don't know of anyone who wants to live that way. So today I want to look at John's gospel, John chapter 8, and we're going to look at a relatively long story, but it's got incredible power and incredible application to every single one of us today. At the end of this story, we're going to talk about what Jesus did not say, because if we focus on what he did say, I really believe it has the potential and the power to change our lives. So we're going to look at John 8, starting in verse 2. It says this: At dawn, Jesus appeared again in the temple courts, where all the people were gathered around him. He sat down to teach him, the teachers of the law and the Pharisees. The Pharisees were a group of people who were very religious on the outside, but very hypocritical on the inside. The teachers and the Pharisees of the law brought a woman caught in adultery. I want to pause there for a moment because I want us to kind of visualize this. See, Jesus is out in a large group of people, spending time together, connecting with people, talking to people, and then these hypocritical religious Pharisees show up, these religious men, and they drag this woman and they throw her in front of Jesus and in front of this big crowd of people. And this woman was caught in the act of adultery. You got to imagine that this would be like the lowest, like most humiliating moment of her life. What's interesting is that the Pharisees, they didn't care a thing about this woman. What they were trying to do is they were trying to use her as a tool to get to Jesus. It says, they made this woman stand before the group and said to Jesus, "Teacher, this woman was caught in the act of adultery. In the law of Moses, it commands us to stone such a woman." Imagine this, what they're going to do is they're going to publicly throw rocks, throw stones at this woman until she dies a very horrible death. And they asked Jesus, well, what do you say? What do you think we should do to this woman? What's your response, Jesus? And they're trying to catch him in this moment. They were using this question as a trap, as a basis to accuse Jesus. And what they do is they put Jesus in what seems like a no-win situation. Why does it look that way? Well, because according to the law of Moses, this woman was guilty. And according to that law, this woman needs to be killed. So Jesus is in a really odd spot, because if he agrees to the law of Moses and he says, yes, go ahead and kill her, I agree, this needs to happen, what he does is he loses all of his reputation of being a person full of love and full of grace. And on the other hand, if he says, well, this isn't that really that big of a deal, let's make an exception here. What he's doing, if he says that, he's breaking the law of Moses and he's condoning the sin of adultery. So what in the world is Jesus going to do? Like, this is a no-win situation for him. So let's check out verse 6. And at the end of that verse, it says this: "But Jesus bent down and started to write on the ground with his finger." It's interesting. They ask him this question, and his response is he bends down and he starts writing in the sand. This raises the question of what scholars and people have always wondered: what did Jesus write in the sand in that moment? Well, the answer is we don't know for sure. But we have some ideas. We have some thoughts on that. Some people say that Jesus was writing down the sins of the men who were accusing the woman. Well, I just imagine that Jesus, he just looks at the moment, and he looks at the woman, and he looks at the Pharisees, and he bends down and he starts writing. And he looks at one of the Pharisees, and let's just say his name is Phil. We'll call him Phil the Pharisee. And he writes down Phil. And then he starts to write down, "Phil, since I am the Son of God, I know what your browser history looks like. Phil, since I'm the Son of God, I know what you've been sending in your Snapchats." And perhaps what he's doing is that he's writing down the sins of the accusers of this woman. And the story goes on. When they kept questioning Jesus, he straightened up and he said to them, "Let any of you who is without sin," in other words, if I didn't write your name down here in the sand, then you have my permission to go ahead and throw that first stone. It's amazing how easy it is to point the finger at other people and to point out the sins of other people and the mess ups and the mistakes of other people, when in fact, a lot of times we're doing the exact same thing. Obviously, it may not be adultery for you, but it may be a series of other things that we point out in other people, but we do ourselves. This kind of reminds me of a time I was walking through the lobby at church, and I saw a group of people who I know were going to want to talk to me. We're going to want to have a conversation with me. And let's be honest, I didn't really want to talk to these people. So I did what any natural human would do. I took out my phone and I pretended like I was having a conversation, like I was talking to someone on the phone. And as I was walking by this group of people, they were looking at me, and I was holding my phone up to my ear, and I was even like saying yes and like fake responding to someone on the phone. And in that moment, my phone started to ring. I was totally busted. But looking back at our story, whoever is without sin, go ahead and throw that first stone. Verse 8 says this: "And Jesus stoops down and he's writing on the ground. At this, those who heard began to go away one at a time. The older ones left first, until only Jesus was left with the woman standing there. Jesus straightened up and he asked her, 'Woman, where are they? Where are your accusers? Has no one condemned you?' And she says, 'No one, sir.' And Jesus said, 'Neither do I condemn you.'" But Jesus did not say, "Neither do I. Now go and do whatever makes you happy." He didn't say, "Go and follow your heart." He didn't say that. He didn't say, "Go and do whatever you want to do as long as you don't hurt anybody." He didn't say, "Do whatever makes you happy." Jesus didn't say this. But what he said, "Where are your accusers? Has no one condemned you?" "No one, sir," she said. Then Jesus said, neither do I condemn you. And this is what Jesus did say. He did say, now go and leave your life of sin. See, that wasn't a condemning, it wasn't a judgmental statement. That was full of love and heart and compassion for this woman. And I want you to feel the urgency of what he was saying. He says, go now. Don't wait. Don't stand here in this moment and continue to be in shame and continue to be in sin. He says, don't wait. You are free. Go now. You don't have to live in shame anymore. You don't have to be afraid or live in sin or in darkness anymore. You're free. Go now and be free from your life of sin. See, that statement and what he's saying is so full of love, and it's so full of grace. You don't have to be held hostage anymore. Go and be free and walk in truth. See, why is it that so many of us, and including me, give in to temptation so often? Well, the answer is that sin looks appealing, right? I mean, it looks fun. Like, how many of you would agree, and let's be honest here, how many of you would agree that sin is fun? Yeah, I'll admit it. Sin is fun. Hebrews calls it the fleeting pleasures of sin. See, it's pleasurable for a little while. It feels good for a little while. It's fun to do for a little while, but it'll mess you up. So what does temptation do? See, sin promises satisfaction at the cost of disobedience to God and the eventual pain to you. I want to say that again. Sin, temptation, it promises satisfaction. You're going to like it. It's going to be good. It's going to feel good. It's going to make you feel happy. You're going to actually enjoy it. But the promise of that satisfaction is the cost of disobedience to God and eventually pain to you. So why do so many of us end up in this situation? Why do so many of us end up here if we know that things are wrong? See, we live in a very relativistic culture. What does the idea of relativism mean? Relativism is the idea that everything's relative. In other words, there is no absolute truth. You hear this all the time in our culture today. You'll hear people say, well, that may be true for you, but that's not true for me. You live your truth, I'll live my truth, and there's no such thing as absolute truth. You just go do your thing, and I'm going to do my thing, which makes me happy. See, there's a fundamental problem without a belief in absolute truth. Because if that's what you believe, then your absolute truth is defined in whatever makes you happy. And when the bottom line is my happiness, then happiness becomes the standard by which I judge my actions, by which I live my life. If it makes me happy, then it must be good. If it doesn't make me happy, then it must be bad. And I know everyone says this is wrong. Everyone's telling me this is wrong, but it feels so right. See, what's the root cause for this problem? And I think a lot of us feel like that happiness and holiness are at odds. I think a lot of us feel like that happiness and holiness can't be together. I think a lot of people feel like to be holy and to be a Christian and to be a believer, that you can't be happy, that you can't have fun, that you can't have joy in your life. Some of our distorted view of what Christ represents and what Christ teaches, we think that in order to observe or in order to live a life of Christ, if you choose holiness, like I want to be holy, like I want to live for God, I want to live for Him, I think we feel like that if we choose holiness, or if we choose to be a Christian, or if we choose to follow Jesus, then what we're doing is we're destined to live a life that's boring and that it's lame and that it's dull forever and ever. And to be honest with you, this is what I believed at one point in my life. This is what I thought at one point in my life. I thought to be a Christian, man, this life's going to be boring. But man, was I wrong. You see, when I was young and I was at a point in my life where I was far away from God, in those moments, I could still feel the power and the presence of God drawing me and pulling me towards Him. But I thought that if I became a full follower of Christ, then I'm not going to have any more fun. Then fun in life is gone. I thought that I was going to be a miserable person living a life for Jesus. See, our God is not up in heaven and looking down on us and pointing down to us and saying, "For God so loved the world that He wants His children to be holy and miserable." That's not what He's saying. That's not what He's doing. That's not what He's all about. And I think if we find ourselves at odds with, like, I want to be holy, but I don't want to be unhappy, the problem is you're looking for happiness in the wrong places. Let me ask you this question. Would a fish, say you take a fish out of the ocean, would a fish ever be happy living out of the water? So you take a fish out of water, you put him on the beach, is the fish happy? Well, the answer is no. But what if you give the fish some things from this world to make the fish feel happy? What if we give this fish laying on the beach a pile of cash? Man, would that make the fish happy? No. So, what about this? What if we do this? What if we, instead, we throw a party for the fish? We get all the best looking fish out of the sea and we lay them around this fish and we put them all together. Maybe we bring in a DJ, we play some cool beats. Would this make the fish happy? No. What if we give the fish some drinks or some things to smoke or some things to take? Do you think that's going to make the fish happy now? No, it's not. What if we do this? What if we get the fish to take the best selfie? Like during the golden hour, like the fish is going to look good. And they get more likes than what they've ever gotten. They get more compliments than what they've ever gotten. Do you think that this fish is going to be happy? No. Why? Because the fish wasn't created for the beach. See, if you find yourself wondering, why am I not happy? Why do I feel empty? Why do I have no joy in my life? Maybe what you're doing is that you're living for the wrong things of this world. Maybe what you should do is lower your expectations of this earth. Because we're not created for this earth. See, you were created by God, for God, to live for things that are not of this world. And that's why sin makes big promises, but it never delivers. See, it promises satisfaction at the cost of disobedience to God and eventual pain to you. You see, holiness isn't mutually exclusive to happiness. In fact, they're very, very related. Holiness, in fact, is a pathway to true happiness in our lives and joy. And I want to say that again, they're not mutually exclusive. They're united. They're connected. You see, serving God and living for Him and not like the lower things of this world, but for the higher things that are eternal. See, this is the pathway for the true meaning of life. I love the way that David said it in Psalm 16, verse 11. He said, "You, God, will make known to me the path of life. In your presence is the fullness of joy. Your right hand there are pleasures forever, not the fleeting pleasures of sin, but the eternal pleasures." And that's why when the woman who was caught in adultery, who was guilty, just like we're all guilty of sin, she was caught in the most shame-filled moment of her life. Jesus didn't look at her and he didn't say, "I'm embarrassed by you. I'm embarrassed by your actions. You should be ashamed of yourself. I'm embarrassed by the way you choose to live. You're so pathetic." No, Jesus didn't say that. Jesus said, "There's something so much better for you. Now go and leave your life of sin. Walk in truth. Go now. Leave the lower things of sin and what this world can offer and live for the things that really, really matter in life." So what do you do when you know what's right, but you keep doing what's wrong? What do you do when you feel trapped in sin? Like, it looked good. It was fun. It was great for a while. It promised something, but it didn't deliver. And maybe now you can't find your way out. Maybe now you're trapped in this sin. Maybe now you're having just a cycle of sin in your life over and over. What do you do when you know that it's so wrong, but you can't get out? What do you do when you know that it's not God's best for you? Well, I want to tell you today about the faithfulness of God, about the goodness of God, the grace of God that is available to you at this moment. You see, Paul said it this way. He said, "And our God is faithful." Our God is always faithful. Our God is so faithful that he will never let you be trapped and tempted beyond what you can bear, beyond what you can handle. But listen to me though, when you're tempted, like when you're trapped, when you're stuck, when you're tempted and you're stuck, and God will provide a way out so that you can endure it. You see, when you're tempted and when you're trapped and when you feel stuck in that sin, God will provide a way out for you. See, what do you do when you're tempted? And I hope that you'll understand this powerful truth. Every temptation is an invitation to depend on Christ. Every time you feel trapped, it's an invitation to depend on Jesus. See, what do you do when you're trapped? You recognize that he gives a way out. Are you looking for that way out? Are you trying to find that way out? He's not saying that I'm so embarrassed of you. He's not saying that I'm so ashamed of you. No, he says, go and be free and leave this life of sin because of my grace, you can be free. See, some of you feel so trapped and you feel like that you can't ever find freedom from the sin, but Jesus is giving you a way out, and he's saying, because I love you and because of my grace for you, you can be free. You can find freedom. See, when you feel trapped and when you feel caught and when you feel broken and when you feel so ashamed, Jesus did not say, that wasn't good. Now go and do just whatever makes you happy. That's not what Jesus said. He says, I've got a better path for you. I've got a better plan for you than this life of sin. Because holiness and happiness are not at odds. They're actually connected. See, you were created to walk in truth with Jesus, and that is what's going to help you find everlasting joy. See, some of you watching today, you may feel trapped, you may feel stuck, maybe you feel spiritually flat or spiritually empty. And what you're looking for is a little bit more of His grace. See, there are some of you watching today, and you may feel trapped, you may feel stuck, you may feel spiritually flat, or you may feel spiritually empty, and you want or you need a little bit more of God's grace. If that's you, maybe that's the way you're feeling sitting in your room or your living room or wherever you're at right now. If that's you, like, I need God's grace in my life, would you just raise a hand? I know we can't see you. We don't know if that's you, but that's just a sign of you saying, hey, that's me. I need God's grace in my life. I think we all do. I think all of us probably have our hands up right now. See, there's those of you who are watching right now, and you feel in this moment just the weight and the heaviness and the burden of your sin. And you wonder what would happen or how people would look at me different if people knew what I was doing, or people know what I do. Maybe you even think, well, what would God think about me? Well, let me tell you right now a very true promise that God loves you, that Jesus came to live and to die for you. And there's nothing that you could ever do to make God love you more. And I want you to know this too, that there's nothing that you could ever do to make God love you any less. And maybe you're watching right now in this moment and you feel like that God can never love me. I've messed up. I've made too many mistakes. I've made too many mess ups. I don't believe that anyone could love me. I could never find forgiveness. I feel so lost in sin and shame and hurt, and I've lost even respect for myself. How could God care for me? How could God love me? And I want you to know right now that you can find freedom, you can find wholeness, you can find forgiveness by giving your life to Jesus. If that's you, you're watching right now, here in this moment, I'm going to pray a prayer, and I'm going to ask you to repeat this prayer after me. And if you pray this prayer, I want you to pray it like you mean it and allow the love of Jesus to flood into your life and free you from guilt and sin and shame. If that's you, let's pray this prayer together. Repeat after me. Heavenly Father, I give you my life. Forgive me of my sins. Make me new. Fill me with your Spirit so I can walk in truth. I follow your ways and I share your love. I give you my life. It's not my own. I give it all to you. Thank you for new life. Now you have mine. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. If you just prayed that prayer, I want to let you know that we're celebrating with you, that all of heaven is throwing a party for you right now. If that's you, you just prayed that prayer, would you let us know? Maybe you need to type it in the comments. Maybe you need to send us a direct message, but we want to celebrate with you. We want to help you in your walk with Jesus. Hey, thanks for watching today. We love you. We hope to see you really soon. Be back next week for week 3 of Things Jesus Never Said.
If you just prayed that prayer and have accepted Jesus into your life, or if you just need prayer in general, please contact us at 816-974-3349.
I love you, Lord. Oh, your mercy never fails me. All my days I've been held in your hand. From the moment that I wake up until I lay my head, I will sing of the goodness of God. All my life you have goodness of God. I love your voice. You have led me through the fire and in darkest night. You are close like no other. I've known you as a father. I've known you as a friend. And I have lived in the goodness of God. Oh yeah. All my life you have been faithful. Oh yeah. And all my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am made, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. I'm gonna sing, oh yes. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. With my life laid down, surrender now. I give you everything. 'Cause your goodness is running after, it's running after me. Yes, your goodness is running after, it's running after me. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. With my life laid down, I surrender now. I give you everything. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. Oh yes, Jesus. All my life you have been faithful. All my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. I'm gonna sing, I'm gonna sing, yeah. And all my life you have been faithful. And all my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, oh, I'm gonna sing of the goodness of God. Oh, I'm gonna sing of the goodness of God. Oh, sing of the faithfulness of God. Oh, we love you, God. Surely goodness and mercy are gonna follow me.
One of our values at Emerge is that generosity is our hearts. And because of this, we give to Speed the Light, which provides transportation and equipment to missionaries all around the world. One of our current projects that we've been working on is the Living Water campaign. Check this out.
Water is life. Having clean drinking water is something that most of us in the United States take for granted. At the turn of a faucet, you can rinse your dishes, take a shower, and make a refreshing glass of iced tea. But imagine life without clean water, where you have to travel hours on foot in the hot sun just to find a muddy trench filled with stagnant rainwater. Insects have laid their eggs in it. Your livestock drink from it. It is diseased with animal feces and urine, but it's the best you got to bring home to your children and family. Water determines quality of life. Water is essential. Water is life. And water is the vehicle which the gospel is being spread in Africa. Over the next few years, Speed the Light has made the commitment to spread the gospel through unconventional means. We are bringing physical water along with the living water of Jesus Christ to completely transform these desperate villages in Africa. Your Speed the Light money will make it possible for World Serve to strategically dig wells just like this one, next to churches. These churches then become powerful oasis centers in which water provides sanitation, restores dignity, and changes lives for all eternity. Will you help? Speed the Light is calling you, along with thousands of students across America, to end the water crisis in Africa once and for all, bringing the gospel to the most remote places so that every person may find life in Jesus Christ.
If you would like to give to the Living Water campaign, check below in the description and there will be a giving link for you. Thank you for your generosity.
Thank you for joining us today. Be sure to follow us on social media. You can find the links in the description, and we'll see you next week.